Okay, I didn't even mean to do that one. I was looking for a place to stage a crash, and then one happened for real. Today on Kory's Rides, I'm going to teach you how to pick up a dual sport bike after it's been dropped. To do that, first we need to drop the bike. So there it is, you've wiped out. The first thing to do after you've wiped out is assess yourself. Don't move until you know everything is okay. You don't have any broken bones or, fingers sticking the wrong direction, being dislocated. After you know that you are okay, shut the bike off and then assess your situation. This will be the basic recovery, the easiest one. Now, I've fallen on the brake side, which is great because that means I can put my kickstand down and then lift it, and I don't have to find a balance point necessarily because the kickstand will save it. If I had fallen on the shifter side, when I pick it up I just have to be careful not to drop it back over the other way. Now, what I found the easiest way to get this bike back up, or any bike for that matter, is if you can take the handlebars and turn them down, and then I get as low as I can and use my legs as much as possible to lift. You don't want to use your back, and you don't want to stand here like this trying to pick up a bike. You're just going to hurt yourself. Now I grab the grip on the downside and the luggage rack if it has one, otherwise just something in the back, preferably not the exhaust because it's probably hot. And then as I lift it, if I can't lift it all the way, I can lean against it, put my butt on the seat and lean against it to hold it while I reposition and grab again. So here we go. Like that, I'm pushing back on it and it holds it up so then I can get it the rest of the way. And again, the kickstand will keep it from falling over the other direction. Two more things about picking the bike up that I forgot to mention as I was doing it. When you're down on the brake side, you can hold the front brake as you pick it up, and that helps keep it in place, and also leave it in gear, as that will help keep it in place and keep it from moving around as you're trying to pick it up. Now, something I haven't done yet, but I've heard works really well when you're in the mud, is if you tie a rope, say we had crashed on the brake side again, if you tie a rope and run it underneath your tire and you stand on it, so if I had a rope from here underneath the rear tire and I was standing on it, you can pick the bike up and the bike won't try and slide backwards away from you in really muddy situations. And actually I have a video of a crash where that would have worked out very well for me. It could have made it a little bit easier. Here's that crash. Boy, that spun right around. Now that the bike has been picked up, you need to check for damage. Things like this aluminum shifter, they don't like being bent back into place, but this steel brake pedal can be put back in place with the right amount of force. Once you've bent something like that, I suggest getting a new one and then putting the bent one in your toolkit as an emergency use type of thing. I have bent this pedal all the way back around and bent it back, and it was fine, but I didn't necessarily trust it to be able to survive another crash. One of the most important things to check once a bike is back upright is the throttle. Make sure it goes all the way back and then snaps shut again. You want the throttle to return on its own. Now, I have bark busters, but if you don't have any protection, it's very possible to jam dirt up inside here, dirt, twigs, things like that, or you could just break the end of the throttle tube, and then when you ride and let go, it could just stay back, which could put you in really bad situations. Other things to check are make sure your levers work. If you have hand guards, make sure they're in place. check to see if your bars are bent. Now, if you bend the bars, the best thing to do is just leave them in place and ride with them bent, because if you try and bend them back, you could break them. You might want to check your radiator to make sure nothing has been embedded into the radiator. Check for leaks. Most bikes are going to leak a little bit of fuel. It's fine, let it evaporate. If you need to, just take some dirt, and if, say, I had a bunch of fuel down the side of the tank, I'd just take some dirt and rub it in, and it would absorb the fuel. If you get fuel all over your engine or your exhaust, just let it sit and evaporate until you start the bike up again. You don't want to become a fireball. You may want to check to make sure your license plate is still there, blinkers are still there. You can always pick these things up and put them back on later. If you can't, you won't be able to fix everything in the field, but again, you may be able to put them back on later. Another thing to make sure you didn't mess up is make sure that there's nothing jammed into the brake caliper or the brake rotor. Make sure your tire is going to be able to spin when you take off again. Sometimes you get dirt and mud packed in during these crashes. And the fuel system in bikes, when they get tipped over, sometimes they won't start right away. If you have a carbureted bike, you may need to fill the bowl of the carburetor again. And on this fuel injected bike, you may need to turn the key on and off a couple of times to cycle the fuel pump to get the fuel system pressurized again. This actually happened in a crash that I had, and I didn't really realize right away that I needed to reprime the fuel system. So I stupidly cranked and cranked and cranked on it, wearing out the battery, when really all I needed to do was cycle the fuel pump a couple of times. Once you have your bike up, you've checked it for damage, you've made sure any luggage you have is still tight, you can take off and ride again. The biggest thing with crashes is make sure you physically and mentally are okay before you continue. If you crash and try and stand right back up, sometimes the adrenaline and the shock will cover the pain of an injury and you may not notice and make it worse. Or you may start riding down the road and then realize, oh no, I'm not okay, and you could end up in another crash. So the first priority is always take care of yourself. The bike's going to leak fuel, it might leak a little oil, it's just a machine, it's metal and plastic, it'll be fine. Worry about yourself first. Now for more advanced recovery techniques, we're going to have to get on the bike and ride somewhere.